So now that we finished the configuration for the backend, we can start creating the part of the frontend. So you can just go to command prompt, search for the path that you have the main folders of the Cookbook project. Go to the root directory of the folder, so Cookbook project, let's say Robbie desktop Cookbook project. Maybe you have it into the documents, I don't know. And hit npx create react app, and let's call it frontend. This is like the Django, how Django created the backend for us. This is going to create a front-end configuration for the React 2, but it's not Django. So if you want to use this one, you have to go to Node.js and hit install the latest recommended for most users. After the installation, we will have to go to React Bootstrap and React Router DOM because we want to have more pages than one. So if we want to make this pagination possible, we need to install React Router DOM. So our app.js will be representing the, let's see, the URLs from the Django, like an approximation. So will help us to know which page we are searching. So if I'm on the main page, on the create recipe page, it's good. It's going to take like 2 minutes, but it's fine. You can just skip the video. Now you can, after the installation is done, go to the front end that just got created and hit npm install. Okay, we have the front end. The front end, go to the source app.js, and doesn't really want to have anything that got created here. So the app will be just our type of URL. So will be representing as the pages. So which page I am on the different paths. So firstly, we want to make that possible. So we want to have more pages. Let's see pages and create the page 1. Let's create the page 2. And the page 1, we can import React from React. Should have just written it from me. So import React from React. Okay, this should be fine. Now let's create an arrow function that is going to return the HTML for the page 1. So const page 1 is going to be an arrow function that returns the HTML for the page 1. So return page 1. I need to export this one. Export page default page 1. Let's copy this and do the same for the page 2. So page 2, page 2, page 2. And in the app.js, we want to import those. Import page 1 and page 2. And to actually be possible to make possible to go to the page 1 separately, go to the page 2, we need to make the installation of the React Router DOM. So click this one, go to your command prompt, npm I React Router DOM. And after this installation, we can import browser router. Let me just browser router routes and route from React Router DOM. So the app will represent a browse router, which is going to have some routes, and every route will represent a page. So the first route is going to be the main page, so the path slash, and the component we want to apply is page 1. When we go to, let's say, recipes, we want to go to the page 2. So let's say page 2. If we go to Google and start the npm start, so start the localhost 3000, where we will have the React frontend. You can see that I'm on the main page. Let me just see this one. So we'll just go back to the app.js routes, route, the path, the component, recipes. This should be fine. Export default page 1, export default page 2. Let me just read the error. Okay, so we have page 1 and page 2. export default page 2, const page 1, export default page 1. If you go to the app.js, I have to make sure that they are exported correctly. So import page 1. Let's just keep this one for the moment. Okay, so we are in the page 1, and for the page 2, import page 2, copy this one, add it here, add page 2, and add the recipes. Shouldn't create an error. Okay, so if we are to the main page, we want to go to the page 1. If you are in the recipes, we want to go to the page 2. So let's do recipes and go to the page 1. I don't care which page we are right now, so if we open the main project, so Frontend, I just want to show you the demo so you can see what you want to build today. Cookbook, go to the Frontend, npm start. So I want to restart the server from this folder. We want to make the possibility to create this navbar, which is going to be represented everywhere in the recipes, in the create, in the home. So this navbar will be everywhere. So to make this possible, we want to add it above these routes. So it doesn't matter on what route I am, I want to have the number here. So we have to create a folder components and create the header component. So header, which is going to return the HTML for the header. Const or import React from React. Const header is going to be an arrow function which returns the HTML for the header. So export default header. And we want to go to the React Bootstrap, copy this one, add it, go to your folder, so Cookbook project, frontend, install this one. I think that we have to make another type of configuration, so okay, we should take these scripts, go to the HTML, so the public index HTML, so we can import the scripts, the links that we want to use. So after this one, we should copy this link. Just want to make sure that we have all the configuration required. Paste this one right here. Now we can go back to our source header and make the life easier. So go to components and search for the navbar. Let's see navbars, which one I would enjoy more. I will take, let me just, a more basic one. This should be good enough. So let's copy the return statement, paste it right here over this one. So override this one and let's take the imports. We already have the imports possible because we styled the dependency. This should work. Okay, I want to have a brand. So this is just navbar, so cookbook. Let's have cookbook. Okay. And let's have 3 nav links. So I will just copy this one right here. Well, let's just create it with you. So the first nav link, nav.link, which will be the home one. So, and to stop styling, I want a color of DD3131. And after this one, I would like to copy this, or let's firstly add some font size of 2.3 rem, so to make it a bit bigger, and to have some space between the links, so margin left around 3 rem. This should be fine. We have to import nav from React Bootstrap -nav, and I will import, I will add this into the nav, so nav, all the links into the nav. Okay, copy this one two more time. 1, 2. Let's have here, let's see, recipes. So recipes, and down create recipe. If we go now to the front end, so let's start the server, npm start. You should be opening the main page with the header above. I just want to make sure that it looks fine. No, we don't have it because we exported it, but we didn't include it. So import, we'll just add the header here and then import it. So import header. Now you can see our header right now. What I'm gonna do is when I click on the home to make the home colored, when I'm clicking on the recipe to make the recipe colored and create and so on. So you can go to header and let's see. So we can use a variable. So let's see which one is going to be focus set. So we have focus set focus set. As a default, we have to have the home. So focus set is going to be equal to home. And I want to add the color of red just if it's the home focus set. Let's see. Color will be, if focus set is equal to home, then we want to add this color. Else, we just want to add the black color. And when we are clicking to the home, so on click, we want to set this variable to be equal to home. So set focus set focus to home. And do the same when we are clicking the recipes, we want to add here recipes, and we are clicking to create, add here create. So if I click to create, we are setting the value of the focus set with the create. If you are clicking on the recipes, we are setting the value of the focus set using the set function with the recipe. And copy this one for all of them. Paste it here and paste it here. So if focus set is equal to recipe, I want to make it red, then else black. So if the color is equal to create, the focus set is going to be equal to create. We want to make the create one have this color. So you can see that they are changing the color. When I'm clicking on the recipes, this variable gets the recipes value. So on click set focus set to recipes. When I'm creating the create, we are adding the create value for the focus. And if the focus is equal to home, the home will have the color, then else black. If the recipes is going to be the value of the focus, then the recipe nameling will have the color DD3131. Then else is going to have black. Okay, that's just to have some fun with it. Now we have to create a folder images. So if you remember, we have this images folder, this images background. So we go to the source and add a new folder. Let's call it image. And just drag an image that you will find the description. You just search for it. Actually, you can create a folder images. Okay, and I will just drag it here. So you are going to find this into the description or in the GitHub repo. The one to go to the pages, page one. So the page one needs to have a container. It's like a div, but a div with some styling, so I don't really have to style it a lot when I'm on a different type of, when I'm on the phone. It's going to make it look a bit better. So it's going to apply some styling for the font type of size. We need to import the container, so import container. And in the container, let's see, we want to have a component for the text. So this text is going to be, this is the container. Let's firstly add the background. So I have an error. I want to see the error first. Container is not defined. Do this one, because in this React Bootstrap we can find more elements. Let me just do this like that. This should work fine. Okay. Let me just think for a second. So the page one will have a class name of page one, and I want to align the text that we'll be creating, so this text, into the center. So we can just say page one and add the class deflex, align items center, and justify content start. This is just some bootstrap align type of CSS that is going to align everything into the center. The page one is our type of CSS, so we can go to the app.css, delete everything. Page one, let's see. So the page one I want to be as wide as possible, as width as possible, and have a background image of, we go to, so we are here, we have to go to the images, so that images, let me just background URL, so URL background image URL, you have to go to the images and get the cookbook image background size. I want to have a cover, so let me just go back to this one. If we restart, no, so it's not being applied. Let me just see why, because we have to import the CSS. So in the page one import, we have to get out from the page. Actually, we have to get out from the pages, so dot and go to the app.css. Now we can see everything, but it's not as big as possible. So let's see why. To make it larger, we can just add fluid. Okay, and this is fine. I want to remove the overflow, so the scrolling, so we can just hit overflow hidden, and this should solve it or not. Let me just see for a minute why this is happening. So we have the page one, which is having deflex, align item center, justify content start. We already added the fluid, so we don't have to add the 100 view width. Okay, just delete this one, and this just solved the problem for the weight. And for the height, if I remove this one, actually we need to keep the height, so 100 view height. And for the navbar, we have to add the styling of position of absolute, because I don't want to push my uh, page down. So you can go to navbar. So the navbar is pushing my page down. Let's see. Let's go to navbar. So components, header. We can do some styling. So style, let's add a Z index of 5. And maybe I can add a position of fixed at the top of 0. So this is going to have position of fixed. It's not going to have a relative position, so it will not push my image, my page one down. What I want to do is to make it larger, so just add width 100 view it. And that's fine. Now we remove the overflow. The navbar is not pushing our page down. What I can do to add a specific height. So I will have a height of, let's say, 10 rim, maybe a bit smaller. 7 should be fine. That's good. So this is our navbar. 6. Okay, let's stick with 6. Now in the page 1, as I said, we want to have the text. So this type of text. So this is going to be a component which will render the HTML for the text. So let's add new file. Let's call it main text.js. And for the main text, we want to import React. We want to import the container. We need the row, the column, and the button from React Bootstrap. And then we need the e-link for the button. So we have const main text is going to be equal to return the HTML. This is going to be a container which will have the main text, and we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 rows. So the first row, the second row, another one, and another one. Okay, the first row will just have an h3, which will say, are you hungry? And a bit of styling. So let's see, style equal to font weight of, let's say, bold. This should be fine. The container going to be a bit, let's see how the page is going to align it. The next row is going to have an h1, so delicious, with the style of, let's see, font size 8 rim, so it's going to be a bit bigger, and the color of, we can just copy or add what I'm adding. So a font weight of bolder, and to be a bit bigger, the delicious. The food plate, let's copy this one, add it here. This is the food plate. And the font weight, I just want 500, font size 3 rim, and I want the color. The next row, so this row will have two columns, one for this one and one for this one. So we have two columns here. Actually, let me just, it can be just a simple row with two h2. So a styling of, let's see, font weight bold, and let's copy the text right here. You can add what type of text you want, and do the same for the other one. So this is just the h2 text, and the last row is going to contain our button. So want to be a bit, to have a bit of margin, so margin top 5, so don't have a bit of space between the top row. So button, the button, let's see, want to add a class name, hover button. So when I'm hovering on the button, I want some CSS to be applied, so to apply this color, and to add some styling from myself. So style, let's see, I want the background to be initially green, the width of 13 rim, and the border radius, so to be rounder, 100, and we can align the text from the button with the display flex, align item center, and justify content center. This is going to align the text from the bottom, so this text, and the button is going to have a link. So let me just do this one like this. So the button is going to have the link, which is going to be aligned into the center of the button. This is why we added the display and the line. So link, which is going to send us to the page 2, which is the recipes URL. And I want to have a bit of style. So I want to remove the decoration of the link, the underline blue stuff, and the color of the text I want to be white. Now we can call it this recipes. This should work pretty good. Let's see how it looks. We need to import it. So this styling and CSS I want to be imported to the page 1. So let's see, main text. I need to import it. So import main text from, I think that I forgot to export it. So export default main text. Okay, now let's see how it looks. And this is everything we want, mostly. So put similar. Let me just see. I want the recipes to be a bit larger, so this link to be a bit larger. And how we can do this? You can go here and add the link. Let me just go to the main text. I made the link a bit bigger, or let's add it into an H2, which is going to be a bit bigger by itself. So like this. And the color of white, just to make sure that it's going to have the color of white. And now you can see that it's a bit bigger and it's aligned into the center of the button. Okay, so I'm trying to say what we are adding, why we are adding. I think that I can remove this. I'm going to be fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, now I added the class hover button. So when we are hovering to the button, I want to have this color. I want to see why we don't have this roundness. The button border radius 100 pixels. It should be fine. So let's copy the class name. Go to import the CSS firstly, but we don't need to import the CSS because main text is imported to the page 1, which already have this one. So app.css and the hover button. So when you are hovering on the button, so hover, I want to add the background color of DD3131. Let me just see. And because it has some styling from the main text, so it's already having a bit of styling, we need to add important to override that styling. And now you can see that when I hover it's getting this type of color. Okay, that's the main page. So we have the home, recipes, create, we have the background, we have the now let's see, header. I don't know, it's just a little text. So it's a cookbook. You can add an icon here if you want. It's just some simple text and light it to the center. And you have the button recipes, which is going to send us to the recipes. That's it for today. See you when we are going to create the page 2. So when we hit the recipes, we want to actually see the data.